Welcome back. We'll continue with our asset module demonstration series. In today's video, we'll walk you through the process of creating a new asset in the system and assigning it to the appropriate portfolio. We'll also review how to update its routine information, such as scheduled maintenance dates, operational status, and overall condition, so that the right people always have full visibility into its lifecycle. To begin, navigate to the Asset Management module. Here, you'll find all relevant applications. For this demonstration, we'll open the Asset Information application. As you can see, several assets have already been created, and in previous sessions, we covered how to view details of existing assets. Now, let's go ahead and create a new one. Click the Add button to start. First, assign a unique asset code and enter the serial number if applicable. Next, select the asset item. This list is populated from the Item Management module, and only items categorized as assets will appear here. Once you choose the item, its associated group and asset name will automatically populate. By default, the system automatically pulls the asset name from the asset master, using the item description as the asset name. However, if you'd like to adjust the name or add more specific details for better clarity, you can certainly update it here. Next, we have the operating unit, which indicates where this asset is currently registered. The next important step is selecting the asset portfolio to which this asset belongs. As we discussed in earlier videos, asset portfolios play a key role in organizing assets and assigning them to specific users for better management. So here, we'll choose the relevant portfolio, in this case, calibration tools. After that, we'll select the asset type. For this example, we'll choose equipment. Details like allocation type, department, or the specific user will be filled in later when we actually assign the asset to someone or to a department. Now let's move on to the purchasing information. Here, you can enter the purchase date. By default, the system uses the current date, assuming you are adding the asset at the time of purchase or receipt. However, if this is an older asset, you can change the date accordingly. Next, you can specify the vendor who supplied the asset. Select the vendor from the list, for example, VacMet Arabia. You can also enter the purchase cost of the item, such as $12.50. In this section, you can specify the manufacturer of the asset. If you maintain a predefined list of manufacturers, you can configure that list in the system and simply select the correct manufacturer from the drop-down. Similarly, you can also set up and maintain a list of models. Once configured, the appropriate model for this asset can be selected here. You can then enter the batch number, if applicable. Additionally, you have the option to record any reference number related to the procurement of this asset. This could be a request number, a purchase request, PR number, GRN number, PO number, or any internal document reference associated with sourcing the asset. For example, you might enter the PO number, under which the asset was originally purchased. Capturing this information helps you easily trace the asset back to its procurement records. Next, we have the operational status of the asset. This field helps you indicate how the asset is currently functioning. You'll see a few options here. Operational simply means the asset is in good working condition and is actively being used. Needs maintenance is a status that the system can update automatically when the equipment requires some kind of service or repair. On hold is used when the asset isn't currently in use. Maybe it's temporarily paused or not needed for the moment. Breakdown indicates that the asset isn't functional and will need repair before it can be used again. Since we're creating a brand new asset, we'll select operational for now. After that, you can specify the condition of the asset, whether it's new, good, usable, or poor. This is something the asset portfolio owner or the user managing the portfolio can update later as the asset's condition changes. If the asset is scheduled to be taken out of service, you can specify the exact date from which it should be marked as inactive. Simply enter the date when the asset will no longer be operational. If the asset is still under warranty, you can define the warranty end date as well. For example, if the asset was purchased on the 10th of this month and has a 1-year warranty, you can set the warranty expiry as the 9th of November 2026. Once all details are entered, go ahead and save the asset. the new asset is now created and appears at the top of the list. You'll notice that the system has automatically populated some routine maintenance records based on the asset's category. These routines, periodic inspections, are linked to the asset profile. In our example, you might see routines like a 180-day service cycle. If the asset has components, those can be defined here as well. You may also see routines that don't apply. For instance, something like a forklift 90-day routine may appear if it was inherited from the asset category setup. These can be adjusted or removed if they are not relevant. The routines that are genuinely assigned to this asset item will always appear here. By editing a routine, you can specify the last execution date, essential for older assets already in use before being added to the system. For new assets, there won't be any history yet, but if you're migrating an existing asset into this system, you should capture details such as who performed the last service, the date it was completed, the next scheduled due date, any certificate or inspection number issued after the maintenance. All of this information falls under the maintenance information section. You can also add remarks or tags if needed. For example, if the routine needs to be performed every 6 months, and the asset was created on the 10th of November, you can set the next due date as the 10th of May. Again, this isn't required for new assets, but it's important for existing ones so the system can accurately track upcoming maintenance. Once routines start being executed, the system will automatically update the next due date and allow you to download service certificates. At this initial stage, since the asset is brand new, there are no certificates available yet. Any completed maintenance will appear in the maintenance history section. This is where you'll eventually see all records, whether they are routine services or breakdown repairs. So that's how we create a new asset, assign it to an asset portfolio, and update its routine maintenance information. Once saved, the asset becomes visible to the portfolio owner, the user responsible for managing these assets. Anyone assigned as the portfolio in charge will be able to view the asset, issue or return the asset, track its condition, ensure maintenance routines are completed on time. Managing the asset's lifecycle, from usage to maintenance, ultimately becomes the responsibility of the portfolio owner. The next application we'll explore is the Asset Portfolio Owner module, which focuses on day-to-day asset operations. This has already been covered in one of our earlier videos. That brings us to the end of this session. Thank you for watching.